2011 saw the release of the best-selling game of all time, Minecraft. This was a game all about exploring, mining, and building in an infinitely generating world, and whilst there were some goals loosely directed to the player, the main idea was that the player was free to do as they pleased. That meant that the player could explore as far in any direction as they wanted, infinitely discovering new lands, or instead they could bunker down in a cave and become rich beyond their wildest dreams. Players could also find themselves building mega structures and whole cities, or building up resources and weapons ready to fight some of the bosses that exist in the Minecraft world, and this meant that any lifestyle was possible within the game. Ultimately, this led to worldwide success, as the game could be tailored to anyone from kids learning how to play games for the first time, to hardcore gamers who were attempting to beat every boss available, and so Minecraft scales skyrocketed, and whilst they sell fewer copies these days, that is mostly because everyone already has the game, as popularity for the game is still very high. Whilst the credit for the game has to go to the developers for their amazing work in creating freedom within a world like Minecraft, this video is based around the music, and why after all this time, the music stands tall despite being so simple. As well as this, I'll discuss why the more we play the game, the better the music gets, and some key musical ideas that can be applied from this into your work. Starting with some background, Daniel Rosenfeld, better known by his stage name as C418, was a German musician and music producer who before Minecraft just made music as a hobby. Luckily for both him and Notch, the creator of Minecraft, this was originally set out to be an indie game, and therefore relatively unknown people were the best people to be brought on to work on it. This led to C418 landing the job, and he got straight to work on some of his most iconic pieces, like the main track, titled Minecraft. This got the nod from Notch as the correct way to go forward, and C418 began to pump out tracks ready for the game's upcoming release. From there, C418 remained on the team, and with each new update, C418 sprinkles new music into the soundtrack, hidden amongst all the major features added into the game. These days, the music of Minecraft is extremely famous and instantly recognisable to a large portion of the world, making C418 and Minecraft a huge success, and today I'll try to explain why. One of the main reasons that the Minecraft music is so successful is firstly because of the atmosphere that the game and the music create together. C418 was brought onto the project as someone who did not want to keep creating that classic indie game 8-bit musical sound, and instead he wanted to use what he was good at, which was that more acoustic piano-based minimalist sound we hear throughout the soundtrack. This simple and calm sound ended up being the perfect addition to Minecraft, as the world had no motives and no direction to guide the player towards, and therefore the music needed to be calm and peaceful to fit the idea that the player was in control, and not motivated by having fast-paced music to incite a more dangerous lifestyle. This meant that whilst exploring the vast open world of Minecraft, players were comforted by a calming tone played softly on the air, and this meant that the player wasn't forced to live in any kind of lifestyle subconsciously by the music. Instead, the music did something somewhat unexpected for the player, which many people would normally consider a bad thing, which is that the music made people sad. Now I know this is not always the case with the Minecraft music, however it is true that when you are dropped into this completely empty world on your own, and it's just you that has to survive, the music being so simple and soft can create the effect of sadness and loneliness, as you are not being amped up by the music, and instead it reflects that empty space that lies ahead of you. This is something I'm sure a lot of people can relate to, as I'm sure we've all been inside our world and it started to get dark, and whilst we've been somewhat lost, the music has just added to that feeling of loneliness, as we can't even find our base again. The reason for this is because that minimalistic piano sound, usually in a minor key in this soundtrack, creates a melancholy atmosphere that leaves us with quite an empty feeling, and therefore it heightens that atmosphere that we are alone in this world. As well as this, whilst we are walking the vast expanse or just mining our own caves, this music comes back to subtly remind us that it is just us in this world, and whilst that it is peaceful, it's also lonely depending on your interpretation and how you currently feel whilst playing. In my opinion, this is a stroke of genius within the soundtrack, as the music is so vague and simple that however a player is feeling whilst they hear the music can be somewhat amplified by the simple tunes, as whilst they can often be seen as sad, some of the music can also be interpreted as vague and unfamiliar, which can heighten the feeling of exploration, and instead of it being sad, if someone is excited to explore and learn about the mysteries of Minecraft, then this music instead complements their feelings. This is very interesting when talking about atmosphere, as unlike many games that have certain areas with certain musical ideas that create atmosphere, The atmosphere in this game is created almost internally with how we choose to respond to the music, and for that reason, I think the music is extremely impressive, whilst being so minimalistic. Another success from this soundtrack is the success that has come from the game being so popular for so long, and this is the idea of nostalgia. Whilst this wasn't as prevalent in 2011, and the points before about atmosphere and interpretation were more relevant, it's safe to say that in 2023, nostalgia is just as important when we are playing Minecraft. This is because a lot of us grew up with, or at least played Minecraft when it released, and have since played it on and off for years. This has therefore slowly but surely built up a subconscious memory bank of feelings we've had in Minecraft, from good times with our friends to low points where we have been all alone after losing all of our gear in a mine. This has ultimately led to the Minecraft music holding a special place in many people's hearts, as they have heard it so much and it has been so simple and interpretive that many people feel happy or nostalgic whenever they hear it due to the subtle memories it brings back. This is partially because of the game itself. However, the game has changed a lot since release, and so the nostalgia for the game world isn't as strong. However, the music has always stayed strong to its simple piano-based score, and this helps people to link their old worlds to their new ones, and helps to create that bond. This certainly wasn't an intended part of the soundtrack. However, these days, it is undeniably a big part of why many of us love some of the most simplistic and empty music in the game, and feel a weird sense of joy whenever we hear the music, even if the memory it is linked to is sad, as it still brings something back for us to look back on fondly in Minecraft. Moving on to another major success within the soundtrack, we have to talk about the shuffle feature. This is a fairly common feature in video game soundtracks, however Minecraft takes it one step further, as unlike in many video game worlds where the music is related to the region you are in, Minecraft shuffles their entire playlist all the time, no matter where you are or what you're doing. This once again adds to that feeling of non-bias the game is trying to give the player, as by shuffling the entire soundtrack without biomes in mind, Minecraft is letting the player live in the world however they want to, live in it with the same music regardless. This means that if they set up in just one biome, they can still experience all the music, whilst if they travel the world infinitely, they can experience that same music. This is a big success as it means that the world is truly free to the player, with even the music available no matter what you are doing, and this allows the player to shape their adventure the way they want to as easily as possible, adding to that atmosphere of freedom. So what is it that makes the Minecraft music so notable despite it being so noticeable? Well, it all has to do with the way certain things make us feel. Minecraft, for example, uses minor scales most of the time, which leads to that more melancholy sound I spoke about before. This means that whilst the player is living inside this world, they are subconsciously reminded of the loneliness and the empty space between them and everybody else, and whilst this can be a sad thing, ultimately it creates a feeling of calm. Secondly, the use of piano and light synths creates the feeling of a very minimalistic soundtrack that doesn't blow you away with a million things going on, and instead, it subtly complements the gameplay by just being an afterthought to the player that they don't always notice anywhere but within their subconscious. This means that with more minimal music, the player is not really experiencing the scene because of the music like you would an epic battle scene, and instead, they feel the atmosphere of the world with the music, and there is an undertone to just make the sound of the world more interesting. Thirdly, Minecraft uses ambience to its advantage. What I mean by this is that rather than having loud dynamic swells and epic orchestral moments mixed in with quieter, sweeter melodies on the harp, C418 created a soundtrack that doesn't have that much in the way of dynamic shifts and instrumental changes at all. Instead, the instruments and dynamics remain grounded to around the same space, and if there are any shifts, they are gradual to make them unnoticeable and unintrusive to the player during their exploration. Then, to pair with this, a lot of the melodies, such as Sweden, one of the original pieces in Minecraft, rotate around simple chordal patterns, such as 4-chord or 8-chord pattern, with the melody being played subtly between chords. This keeps the music in a simple and unnoticeable loop, as the melody keeps changing, however the player doesn't notice the music too much, as the chords remain the same, and so nothing sounds off or uncomfortable, which means that the music can go on forever in this Minecraft-style world, without people feeling that it is repetitive due to the melody. However, they also couldn't say it sounds outgoing and intrusive, as it is well grounded, which helps to maintain that ambient atmosphere. As well as this, Minecraft uses simply diatonic melodies to keep the atmosphere ambient. What I mean by this is that all the melodies are driven by notes that are within the original set out key of whichever piece it is, and therefore all the music sounds correct and not out of place like the odd sharp or flat would be within a piece. This means that where usually an interesting staccato beat would take place to make something seem off during a dangerous moment, in Minecraft this doesn't happen, and instead the music remains diatonic and faithful to the key, making the notes flow easily and satisfyingly from one to the next. This stops the music being abrasive and keeps the ambience alive, which is pivotal to this soundtrack. Finally, C418 uses one last trick in his arsenal for the music, and this is the use of major 7th and major 9th chords. These are often chords associated with jazz and more upbeat pieces. However, the way they are used in Minecraft is very interesting and something to take note from, as they are used to create lighter, more interesting chords to stop chords feeling blocky or stagnant. This means that where a chord may be abrasive, the extra 7th or 9th just helps to smooth it out and calm it, whilst also adding more interesting sound to the world. This means that rather than the soundtrack being stale and repetitive, like you could possibly get with the 4-chord pattern, it uses, instead, interesting and enjoyable due to the use of 7ths and 9ths at crucial times. This helps with the ambience from before, but it then also helps to make the music have a little bit of substance and detail, which helps to just push it to that more iconic level that it has reached today, as people remember the more interesting tracks when looking back at Minecraft music. So, to conclude this video, I want to summarise and say that Minecraft is the best-selling game of all time for a reason. It is widely popular, and the music is therefore also widely popular. However, I do not think one has made the other more popular, and instead, I think the game and the music are equally as important when it comes to what we all remember looking back. The music is extremely nostalgic, and it has been there for those beautiful moments when the sun sets, and it is there for those dark days when the rain comes, and we are lost. And I think that this is what makes the music so amazing, as it can fit any moment and all moments due to its ability to be played anywhere in the world. Whilst it may not be the most epic score of all time, the numbers don't lie, and that means that one of the best-selling titles of all time must have some strong musical backing. So once again, Minecraft's music must be a masterpiece. Thanks for watching, and let me know what game or film you want to see me cover next. Till next time.